Next element of GAB is A, and A is for attitude. And the basic idea here is, well, you're in customer relations business. You know that attitude is absolutely critical. You also do accept that it is not really possible for you to be able to take on the Amazons, as was mentioned earlier, or the big box guys purely on price. What you've got to be able to take them on is in terms of attitude and customer satisfaction. And if you've got the right attitude, you're going to have people saying good things about you. So let's look at attitude for a few minutes. Out of curiosity, does anyone here in this room know of a person by the name of Viktor Frankl? Yeah, okay, 1 or 2 hands raised here. Viktor Frankl was an Austrian psychiatrist who spent some years in the Nazi concentration camps during the Second World War. And after he was released from the concentration camps, Viktor Frankl wrote a book titled Man's Search for Meaning. Man's Search for Meaning. And in that book, Viktor Frankl wrote that everything can be taken from a person except the last of their freedoms. The ability to choose one's attitude in any set of circumstances. The ability to choose one's attitude in any set of circumstances. The preceding sentence to what Frankl wrote was as follows. And Frankl wrote that we who lived in the concentration camps can remember the people who walked through the huts comforting others and giving their last piece of bread. Yes, they were few in number, but they provided sufficient proof that everything can be taken from a person except the last of their freedoms. The ability to choose one's attitude in any set of circumstances. The ability to choose one's attitude in any set of circumstances. Now, if Viktor Frankl in the hellhole of a concentration camp could choose his attitude, everyone here can choose your attitude. We all can. And we all go through our own personal hell from time to time. Some of you may be having financial difficulties, maybe having employee difficulties, family difficulties, but we can choose our attitude. How do we do it? We do it by remembering one really powerful question that will help you to choose your attitude. And that question is, what do I want my attitude to be? What do I want my attitude to be? If you ask yourself, what do I want my attitude to be when things go wrong? You're not going to say, I want to be annoyed, I want to be upset. When you ask yourself the question, what do I want my attitude to be? You're more likely to say, I don't want to be angry, I don't want to be annoyed about this. And having answered that way, you will make some effort not to be angry and not to be frustrated. I'm not saying it's a panacea or a cure-all, but it does work. And I'll give an example where it helped me a couple of years ago. I was driving in the western suburbs of Chicago in heavy rush hour traffic. Came to a set of traffic lights, turned left at the traffic lights, and a few seconds after turning left, I noticed in my rear view mirror a mobile discotheque. Cop car, flashing lights. So I pulled to the slower lane, he pulled to the slower lane. And I remember saying to myself, well, Holy St. Patrick and St. Bridget. Bit of respect there, please. Holy St. Patrick and St. Bridget, what could that fine officer of the law want from an upstanding citizen like me? Now, that was the gist of what I was thinking. I may have said just one 4-letter word. But for those of you whose mind is in the gutter, the word was oops. Which, as you all know, stands for uh-oh, police, stop. Right. So I pulled into a little small parking lot at the side of the road, and as I was pulling in, I said to myself, now why does he want to speak to me? And the only reason I could figure why he might want to speak to me was when I had turned left at the traffic lights. They were slightly red, but not by a whole lot now, mind you. So he is there on his computer checking me to see if in my case I'm a member of the Irish Republican Army, or even worse, a Cubs fan. Go White Sox! I have to tell you, depending on who I'm speaking to, I obviously try and put in a kind of an answer to that gets a reaction. But when I was speaking up near the Green Bay area a couple of years ago, I made the comment that the cop was checking to see if I was a member of the Irish Republican Army, or worse, a Packers fan. I didn't think I would get out of that room alive. So he was there checking my computer to see what my record was like. And I asked myself the question that I said you should ask when things go wrong. So I asked myself the question, what do I want my attitude to be? And I said there's no point in being antsy and annoyed about this. He probably doesn't understand the concept of slightly red lights. So in my side mirror, I see him walking up towards me. And this being Chicagoland area, I prayed that he had an Irish name. I prayed that he had this vision of Ireland, that the roads are still unpaved, that milk is brought to the creamery via donkey and cart, and that traffic lights, if they exist at all, are, well, basically advisory. I look up. Officer Schmidt, who proceeded to tell me in minute detail what I had done wrong. He asked for my license and he asked for my insurance. Now, none of this is made up, I promise you. I had asked myself the question, what do I want my attitude to be? As he is looking at my license, he says to me, "Sir, I like your attitude." I'm thinking, woohoo, I'm getting away with this. Then he looks at my insurance and he says, "Sir, your insurance certificate is out of date." My wife normally looks after that, officer. He smiled. I think he realized he was dealing with one more administratively incompetent husband. Ladies, you know the story, I'm sure. And he just handed back the insurance certificate to me and he said, "Look, take it easy on that one." Now, I should tell you that this event happened on the 16th of March. Okay? One day before St. Patrick's Day. So the rest of the conversation went as follows. We're having great, good fun, and as you will see, it continued that way. So the rest of the conversation went, "How much will this cost me, officer?" He said, "I'll cite you for the red light. I'll leave you go on the insurance. That'll cost you $75, sir." $75? Do you know how many pints of Guinness I can get tomorrow for $75? The guy cracked up laughing. I think he thought I was on crystal meth. And he said to me, "Sir, if I was to cite you for the red light and the lack of insurance, this would be significantly more expensive. You'd have to go to a traffic court." So I said, "Thank you, I appreciate the break you're giving me." I pulled into a very small parking lot with only one access and egress, so I had to turn the car around and drive by Officer Schmidt. As I drove by Officer Schmidt, I kid you not, he waved to me with a genuine smile. That was how the conversation had gone. And I said, "This is crazy. This guy's waving to me with a genuine smile and he's after fining me $75. And I waved back to him with a genuine smile saying, "This is really crazy. He's fined me $75 and I'm waving back to him." But what Officer Schmidt, though, would not have known was that for only $75, I had got a really memorable anecdote about the importance of asking yourself a really powerful question when things go wrong. And when things go wrong, and they will for every single person in this room at some stage, the question to ask yourself is, what do I want my attitude to be? And for everyone here in this room, things do go wrong. You may have an employee not turn up, you may have something stolen from the store, or you may have some other confrontation with someone, you may have some other issues, vendors not coming in on time, etc., problems with the supply, that kind of thing. All right, first reaction is to get annoyed and miffed, and I fully understand that. But if you can get into the habit of asking the question, what do I want my attitude to be? It will make a difference to how you respond to the issue. It'll make a difference to how your employees see how you respond to the issue. And when they see that you're a person that's more mellow and can actually handle a disappointment and upset, it's going to create a better work environment as well. You cannot give substantial salary, wage increases to your employees. You can improve the way they feel about themselves. You can improve the work environment. And when you do that, you're going to create a better customer engagement as well. The other thing about this question of what do I want my attitude to be is that you regularly have vendors coming in or salespeople coming in, suppliers coming in to talk to you. You regularly have meetings with your bank managers, with financial advisors, etc., where you know things are going to be a little bit difficult. If before that difficult meeting, you actually ask yourself the question, what do I want my attitude to be before the meeting? You're not going to say, I want this meeting or this discussion to be a disaster. I want this meeting or discussion to be just confrontation and everyone leave it in bad form. If before that meeting, where you know things might be difficult, you say to yourself, right, what do I want my attitude to be? You're going to respond, I want to get something out of this meeting. I want to get something out of this negotiation. I want to get something out of this contract that I'm bidding for. And when you ask the question and answer that way, it'll make a difference to you. So we've got goals, we got attitude, we got behavior. Fine, so let's look at the B for behavior. The basic idea behind B for behavior is that your behavior creates your brand. Your behavior determines what people say about you. What people say about you is your brand.